Lygosate is a lygosate that is a Lygosate is a designed to test the potential wood space exploration and living space. The satellite will be released from the Russian experiment module. So, Lygosate, that is a fusion of ligno. The Latin word is wood and satellite. So, it is developed through the collaborative research of team comprising of the Kyoto University and the Sumitomo Forestry. So, friendliness and cost effectiveness of the eco-friendliness and the cost effectiveness for the wood space exploration, that is correct. First wooden satellite Lignosat, built by the Japanese. It is built by the Japanese researcher, and it is asked to demonstrate the cosmic potential of the renewable material released from the Japanese experiment module. Next one is, which is the following is not have a territorial claim or feature South China Sea. So that was Japan. So China has, Brunei has, Malaysia has, but Japan do not have claims. So China marked the boundaries of the near the Flashpoint Reef, and the South China Sea is strategic economically significant area like China, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei. Japan interests in this region are more about the freedom of the navigation and security rather than direct territorial claim. So this Japan has some claims, and Japan has the claims of the navigation and security alliance. And the security alliance, two things are there. Third is, consider the following millet contamination. Aspergillus flavus is the main fungal species associated with this mycotoxin contaminated millet. Storing millet is a humid warm condition increase the likelihood of fungal contamination. Consumption of contaminated millet primarily affects the respiratory system rather than digestive system. So this is not true. Actually, primarily affect respiratory rather digestive. Millet actually first affect the digestive system rather respiratory system. Okay, so the concern have been about the danger of the fungal contamination leading to the severe health effect. Aspergillus flavus is the primary fungal, and name is Aspergillus and flavus. Aspergillus and the flavus, that was a primary fungal infection of the mycotoxin product. It is a mycotoxin product, and warm and humid storing condition are conducive for this, but mycotoxin primarily affect the digestive, and it affect the digestive system primarily. Consider the following regarding the Pinaka multi-barrel rocket system. It is indigenously developed. The maximum range of the Pinaka is the 125, so that is not true actually. So France is evaluating the Pinaka rocket, and that was Pinaka is developed by the India's defense sector and has the artillery capability, and its range is 120 kilometer, not the 150. So France is considering India's Pinaka rocket system planning. French interests are during the meeting with the Indian Army, and Armenia is the first export customer for the Pinaka, and Armenia is the first exporter. Now next is, what are the term of soft landing? Refer to the economical context. A situation in which the economy slow down just enough to curb inflation without causing a recession. So if there is no recession, but there is still inflation, okay, and just enough to curb the inflation, like I am a country and I can curb the inflation without recession, that is known as the soft landing. Okay, that is known as the soft landing. Now next one is, soft landing refer to the scenario where economic policies or interest rate hikes successfully slow down the inflation and economic growth without tipping economy into the recession. So it is a desired outcome when central bank aim to balance the inflation. Now next one is, consider the following regarding the new tax regime. So high income tax earners substantially deduction are more likely to benefit from the tax regime. Okay, high income earner will benefit it with the tax regime. but low income earner who do not claim many deductions may find the new tax regime less beneficial. So that is not true. Low income earner will also be benefited because of the new tax regime, not only the high income. So high income earner who are able to take advantage of substantial tax deduction such as housing loan, investment under the section 80, medical insurance, and find the old tax regime more favorable because it allow for these deductions. So high income earners are finding that old tax regime is better because they are finding investment under this, and medical insurance is also there, and substantial tax deduction is also there. But low income earner who do not have many tax deduction do claim which will often find the new tax regime is beneficial. Okay, so the new tax regime offer the lower tax rates for most income brackets and does not require extensive documentation for the deduction. So they do not require the documentation, and this is the lower tax rates are more in most income brackets and does not require any this documentation. Consider the following about the UNFCCC. COP29 is said to be hosted Azerbaijan, focus on the international climate change direction. So COP29, that is discussing about the climate change. Okay, climate change, and that is in Azerbaijan. The Taliban, despite not being recognized as the legitimate government of Afghanistan, will be attending COP29. So both of them are true actually. So Taliban is not a legitimate, but still it is going to attend the COP29, and it is to hosted by the Azerbaijan, focus on the climate discussion. So significant climate conference in Azerbaijan will hosted by Azerbaijan. The Taliban will be attending, lacking official status as a Afghanistan recognizing government. Okay, now next one is consider about the gig economy. What is gig economy and challenges? Gig worker are the individual engaged in the gig economy taking temporary flexible jobs, and the current legal framework India provides the comprehensive social security for the. So currently it is providing the social security to this there, and India has a fifth largest gig economy. So what are true? Actually 1 and 3 are true, but they are not providing the social security benefits. So see, the midst of the continuous evaluation of the gig worker, the India recently a national digital strike Deepavali, that is organizing the women gig worker. Okay, so gig worker are individual who engage in the flexible and temporary job. First is they are engaged in the temporary job and flexible job. Second thing, this type of work arrangement is characteristic of the gig economy where people provide services on demand, often a facility digital platform. The existing legal framework India does not offer the social security. So existing, they does not offer any social security. There is no social security provided to the gig worker. Okay, and now India is correctly five largest. Currently the five largest population. Currently there is a fifth largest population of the gig worker. Next, consider the following about the Indian Constitution. Article 229, that is deal with the borrowing power. The Finance Commission play crucial role regulating borrowing. That is not true. The center can impose a restriction on borrowing limit. That is true. In the fiscal discipline. So the article 292, that is the grant the government the power to borrow the money. So it grant the power to borrow the money from the Consolidated Fund of India. This provision gives central government the authority to manage the national level. So who will manage this? This will manage by the central government. And the Finance Commission provides recommendation on distribution of financial resources, not regulate the borrowing. The Commission role is advisory, and this role is the advisory role, and focusing on the equitable allocation of resources. Equitable allocation of the resources. Okay, so that is about the Finance Commission, and central government can impose the borrowing restriction and macroeconomical stability, prevent the excessive debt accumulation. Now next one is moneypox. So moneypox is a Pioviridae. It is a poxviridae, and that is a viral family, and that is a poxviridae. Okay, so moneypox has evolved in the jump from the human to human Pox viridae virus was known their significant impact on human and animal. Mpox is researched posing a growing concern for global health. WHO was declared as the Mpox in 2022, and the virus originated zoonotic. It is a zoonotic virus, and now show the sign of human to human transmission. An aprobic protein, there is a one protein name is aprobic protein, and this protein human immune system को change कर देता है, that is changes the human immune system. Ministry of Coal and launched the mine opening permission module single window clearance, and that is portal to streamline accelerate the coal mining. That is the Kishan Reddy, and that was the coal mine related issue. Okay, so Ministry of Coal, that was the mine opening permission module single window clearances initiative aimed to simplify and speed up the approval of the opening new coal. Transparency, now efficiency, and reducing the coal mining. So that was a launch by the, it is unified platform, necessary clearances, mine opening permission module, online applications, real time tracking. So it provides us the real time tracking, and Prime Minister vision of digitally enabled economy. Digital enabled economy. Okay, so these are important facts. Mine opening permission, online application, and Prime Minister digitally enabled economy, self-reliance. So self-reliance is also in that, and technology and augmentation decision making. Next is which sector of the Rajasthan government signed the MOU with during the Rising Rajasthan, that is mine and petroleum. So Rajasthan government in that Rising Rajasthan summit, that was the mines and petroleum. In that we signed the agreement. Next one is the Rajasthan government MOU was the mines and the petroleum sector during the Rising Rajasthan. The agreement later was exchanged. The Chief Minister Bhajan Lal Sharma and the Chief Minister urged investor to bring forward the Rising Rajasthan Summit, and that was industrial investment and environment. So that was the 32 major mineral blocks and new mineral policy, exploration, concession, allocation, development of the mine. Next is the who was the freedom fighter and the key figure of the Mewar Prajamandal who passed away. That was Madan Mohan Somtia. So he was belongs from the Mewar Prajamandal and he was passed away, Madan Mohan Somtia. So next, Madan Mohan Somtia, that was passed away. He was passed away at the age of 15 in 1938. He joined the Mewar Prajamandal at the age of 15, participated actively in independent movement. He was arrested and imprisoned multiple times. He was involved in the significant of Quit India movement. He was involved in the significant of the Quit India movement. And he was passed away at the age of the 102 and Rajasthan district due to heart and respiratory ailment. Now next one is which institution of developed the patented completely mechanical continuous passive motion and machine for knee rehabilitation. So knee rehabilitation. In that one institute is making the continuous passive motion machine, that is the IIT Ropar. So unlike the traditional motorized machine, there was entirely mechanical. It used a piston, pulley system and electricity, battery and motor, and portability for hospital and the played by this act. Now which is the 5th National Cultural and Literacy Festival of Kala Utsav, that was Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Cultural and the Literacy Festival, that was the Bhubaneswar of Odisha. 5th National Cultural Literacy, and that was a tribal student hosted the Odisha event was the Union Minister of Tribal Affairs and Ministry of State for Tribal Affairs. That was the Durgadas birth anniversary of the Bhagwan Birsa Munda, and that was a tribute to the Bhagwan Birsa Munda and the tribal freedom fighter. Now next one is which state will be the benefits Union government for the fire service modernization? So it will be Chhattisgarh, Odisha and the West Bengal. So high level committee of the Home Minister of the Shri Amit Shah has approved the expansion modernization of the fire service and program, and that was total outlay is given 725 crore. Disaster management resilient India, Amit Shah was providing this. Now next one is which company partnered with the Noida International Airport for renewable energy? That was Tata Power. So Noida for the renewable energy, and that is the Tata Power, including the wind and solar projects. So the Tata Trading Company, that is renewable energy. Tata Power is in 13 megawatt on-site solar plant will be developed, maintained by the Tata Power Renewable Energy. Power is a developed essential electricity infrastructure providing the operation maintenance. Net zero airport. We want a net zero airport, and that is about the India's renewable goals. Who is the following president of International Hockey Federation? That is Tayyab Ikram. Tayyab Ikram, and he was the statutory Congress of Muscat, Oman. Tayyab Ikram was re-elected as the president of International Hockey Federation 49th Statutory Congress, and that was the governance project is also there, and expansion of major events, Hockey World Cup, Junior World Cup, commercial partnership with Hero Motor, Nike and Lurian, sustainability recognizing the Climate Action Award, and social media engagement. Which company was ranked the world's most sustainable aluminium company? That was Hindalco. Hindalco is the world's most sustainable aluminium company. So the name is the Hindalco. Name is the Hindalco, and it is the world most sustainable company. Next one is Hindalco is the sustainable aluminium company, and that is the world's most important sustainable aluminium company, and that is the pointing. That is world index was 10% largest, and S&P Global Broad Market Index based on the economic and environment social governance. Satish Pai, that was MD of the Hindalco, focusing on the biodiversity. Now next one is where was the first fire resilient species Dicletera polymorpha was discovered? That was the Western Ghat. That was in the Western Ghat. So that was in the Western Ghat. So name was the Dicleptera polymorpha discovered. Name is Dicleptera and polymorpha, and this was in the northwestern Ghats. So scientists of the Agarkar Research Institute, Pune of the Mandar data, Dicleptera is a northern western Ghat. It is species fire resilient and pyrophytic habit, dual blooming pattern. This was only Indian species was in fluorescence unit that was closely related to the African species, and first specimen were collected in 2020 monsoon. Okay, so that was about the next one is with reference to the malaria, consider the following statement. Malaria is caused by the bacteria mosquito bite and blood stream से जाता है. ये the plasmodium parasite that was caused the malaria red blood cell में होता है. So it was in the red blood cells, and name is the plasmodium parasite. It is a parasite. Okay, and malaria can be found in tropical areas of Africa. Only is not the characteristic that only, so that's why only two is correct. Malaria is caused by bacteria, so that is also not true. So malaria is caused by Plasmodium parasite, not the bacteria. So there is no bacteria, it is just a parasite. It is parasite. And the 5 Plasmodium species affect the human: Falciparum and Vivax. Name is Falciparum, and the Vivax. And that was malaria spread through the bite from the infected female mosquito, and there was a infected female mosquito. Malaria parasite travel to the liver and infect the red blood cell, and the symptoms include the fever, shaking, chills, headache, muscle arch, and tiredness. Malaria preventable and curable, and the malaria is found in tropical and subtropical. 5 Plasmodium species are human, like the Falciparum. 5x are the being most dangerous. Malaria spread through the bite from infected female Anopheles mosquito, and the malaria parasites are to liver, mature, and infect the red blood. It will affect the liver and the red blood cell. Symptoms include the fever, shaking, chills, headache, and the muscle ashes, and the tiredness. Malaria is found in the Africa and the America and the Asia. Now consider about the diabetes. So type 1 diabetes, that was chronic condition when the produce the excess insulin. That is not chronic condition. It is commonly diagnosed in the children and the young adults. It is classified as a autoimmune disorder. And that was a chronic condition where the pancreas produce excess insulin. That is not true. The International Diabetes Federation drawing up the new guideline for the treatment of this, and type 1 diabetes is a chronic condition where the pancreas makes the little or no insulin. So that is not true. It commonly affects the children, young adults, but can occur at the early age. This is the autoimmune disorder where the immune system is attack the insulin cell. With reference to the emperor pangolin, consider the following. Emperor pangolins are known to raise their chicks on lands away from the glacier. That is not true. Low sea ice level in the Antarctica have significantly impacted this. Emperor pangolin undertake long migration primarily in the search of nesting site. That is also not true. So an emperor pangolin was spotted on in the Australia beach. Emperor pangolin raise their chick on the sea ice near the glaciers and not on the land, and that low ice level have disrupted the breeding grounds. The long migration is typically for the food, not the nesting sites. So this is about the emperor pangolin. With reference to NATO, NATO was establishing the immediately after the First World War. The principle was the Article 5 for North Atlantic Treaty. Defense is a principle. NATO focus have expanded beyond collective defense to included crisis management and the cooperative society. Beyond the collective defense, so that is not true. So one is incorrect. Like NATO was formed after like Second World War, not the First World War. So we should know about the NATO. NATO was formed in the 1949. It is the time of Second World War. The alliance focus on democracy, freedom, and the security challenges. An alliance was originated had 12 members, but is now 32 countries are presently, and NATO military structure include the strategic command and operations. So the alliance focuses on the democracy, freedom, and Article 5 was outlined the principle of collective defense, and mandate now include the crisis management, cooperative security. Originated 12 members, but now 32 countries. NATO military structure include the strategic commands and integrated military collective. In which of the following the Hokesar wetland Ramsar site, that was Jammu and Kashmir. So lack of the rainfall, that was impact the arrival of migratory birds. Hokesar wetland was a Kashmir valley which is in a territory of the Jammu Kashmir. Now which is the following of the executing the animal health security strengthening project. So this is the Asian Development Bank. United Nations Development Bank is not in this project. UNDP is not working. FAO and the World Bank. Okay, so this organization. India is launching the Animal Welfare Security Strengthening Project enhance the India's capacity for the animal and the healthcare and so this project will be which is created the G20 के जो response में आया था. COVID-19 was also pandemic fund aims to help the country identify the future pandemics, and project involved the collaboration with the ADB and collaboration with the FAO and the World Bank and the World Bank. These three countries are doing, and goal reduce the risk of pathogens and boosting the laboratory system, and no gaps between address the national regional level. So which is the following statement about the Deoband movement? So Deoband movement was strictly in favor of Western style. That is not true. It was established to promote the religious and moral rejuvenation of Muslim. If it fully supported the Sayyid Ahmad Khan, that was also not true. So the Deoband coordination of the Muslim ulema and the Deoband movement was a revivalist movement aimed at preserving the Islamic teaching, and it was wanted to preserve the Islamic teaching, not the English teaching. And the movement focused on the moral religious rejuvenation established by the Muhammad Qasim and Nanavati and the Gangohi, and aimed at creating an independent Islamic education system, replace the informal teaching. It resists the Western education and aligned to the organization like Sayyid Ahmad Khan Aligarh movement. Now next one is consider about the Animal Welfare Board of India. It is a statutory board. First of all, it is a statutory board. Second one, it is a 28 members. Okay, 28 members was there, including the 6 member from the parliament. Okay, so Animal Welfare Board, that was 1962. That was section 4 of this board. 1960 led Rukmani Devi Arundel was prominent. Statutory advisory body for animal welfare and promote the animal welfare, ensure the animal welfare, provide the grants to the animal, and the breeding centers are also there. So that was about the 3 year of each member. Now which of the following located on the border between Bolivia and the Peru? So that was the Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca was between the Bolivia and the Peru. So Bolivia court was ruling bars former Moral. Now Lake Titicaca lies in the Andes on the border between the Bolivia and Peru. It is crucial for the local indigenous community and held significant culture for value. Consider about the establishment structure regional rural bank. So it was established in 1976, and the main purpose is to provide the credit agriculture for rural sector. It is required to have a minimum 50 branches. So that is not requirement of minimum 50 branches. Okay, so that is the finance minister. This is sponsor the bank for development of the MSME sector, and that was established in 1975. Regional Rural Bank, and they provide the adequate credit for the agriculture and rural. This blend cooperative familiarity and rural issues, so safeguard the customer saving credit, increasing the money supply and the confidence. So that was safeguarding the customer saving, building the confidence, mobilizing the public saving. There is no such requirement for minimum branches. Okay, that is important. Which is the Namo Drone Didi scheme. Namo Drone, it is implemented by the Ministry of Rural Development and Sashakt Nari Viksit Bharat program. So name is Sashakt Nari and Viksit Bharat program. Okay, and it provides the financial support to individual farmers to purchase drones. The scheme aims to empower the rural women by the training of the drone operation. So they are giving a training for the drone operation. Next is the Namo Didi was completed. Now next is the South Lonak Lake recently was in due risk of the glacial lake outburst. That is in the Sikkim and Himalaya region. And name is the South Lonak Lake. and that was glacier outburst. This suffered from. So that was Glacier Lake outburst flood. That was location of the Sikkim Himalaya, and that it is glacial Morel dam lake created by the melting of the Lona glacier. So now next one is so you can see this is the Sikkim, and water released from the Chungtang dam, and the army personnel missing from the Bardang cloudburst. There is a cloudburst, and this is the Lonak lake. This is the Lonak lake. Next is which is the following aim to protect the marine biodiversity. So Kunming Montreal Globe Biodiversity Framework and the High Sea Treaty of Marine Biodiversity. Ramsar Convention is not in that. Ramsar Convention is for the wetland, not for the marine diversity. So study of this marine diversity can conserve. It is Kunming Montreal Framework High Sea Treaty, and that was name is Kunming Montreal Framework. Montreal Framework. Okay. And next one is contribution of sustainable use of marine diversity. Sustainable use of the marine diversity. So these two treaties was important, but establishment of the nutritionally vulnerable coastal community, it can improve the human health, act the reservoir for the genetic material, and crucial refuge for the countless marine species, and reference are the serving a baseline for the scientific research. So that was Gulf of Mannar, Lothiel Island, and the Gahir Matha. These three areas are under this. One was the Gulf of Mannar. Second was the Lothiel Island, and third was the Gahir Matha. This three was there. Now the Indian Space Association, it was government initiative created in the Department of Space. It operates an independent organization which the government India, and it was aimed to the faster globally competitive ecosystem for the both foreign investment. So that was it was the governmental initiative created under the Department of the Space to regulate the private sector activity. That is not true. It operates the independent organization of collaboration for the policy, and it was aimed to the foster the competitive space ecosystem. So that was the apex non-profit organization and successful collaboration with the private sector. Private sector promote the investment and the global competitiveness. So it will promote the investment and the competitiveness, and it was ISPA was they include the key private sector player like the satellite manufacturing, launch the service of provider. Which of the following regarding the rural wage India correct? So rural wage India is both agricultural and non-agriculture and not kept pace with the GDP. The increased women participation in the workforce is contributing to the stagnant real wage for the rural area. So rural wage in India was both agricultural and non-agriculture, and increase in the women participation in the workforce in the contribution to the real wage. Next one is which of the following objective of the analog space mission of the Ladakh source simulation condition for the interplanetary habitat to test support system, testing the feasibility and the sustainability of the extraterrestrial base of the future Mars and the Moon mission, studying the impact of the high altitude environment and the material for the equipment. So that was ISRO was launching the first analog mission, that was Ladakh, aimed to the simulating space condition, prepare the future interplanetary mission. This mission includes the simulating conditions and life support system for the essential human survival. It will objective assess the feasibility and the moon and Mars की क्या feasibility है, habitation and exploration, and the high altitude harsh environment in the Ladakh. ISRO will study the durability and the space grade material, equipment, Mars, Moon, and the conditions. So another objective assess the feasibility in the Moon, Mars, and the high altitude environment in the Ladakh. That was ISRO study the durability and equipment in Mars and Moon-like condition, ensuring they can withstand the extreme environment. The Sia language, that was Indonesia. So Sia language, indigenous language, and Korean Hangul script to preserve the heritage is spoken. that was the Indonesian tribe. So language Siasi is spoken by the indigenous island of Indonesia. Previously, that was the risk of the disappearing, but now presently Hangul script was introduced, and that based the structure aligned with the CSE of phonetics. Next one is under the following patent law, the following provision allow us the production of generic version of the drug, that was the compulsory licensing. So under the compulsory licensing, we can go for the generic drugs. We can go for the generic drugs. So this was the Swiss multinational healthcare company seeking to permanent injection and the Nutco Pharma to prevent the introduction of generic. Compulsory licensing allow a government for the authorized protection of generic version without any the patent holder. So that was 84 section Indian Patent Act was allow the compulsory licensing if patented drug are unaffordable. If they are unaffordable, that means you can go for the compulsory licensing. There is a TRIPS agreement and the patent monopoly and the TRIPS agreement, that was for the public issue, and patent monopoly, like patent holder can prevent the other form of the producing or the selling of patented material. The Jammu Kashmir Legislature Assembly power are the similar to those of the Puducherry. The power of the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu Kashmir include the public order and the police, which are outside the assembly. Both statements are correct, and that was the explanation of the each other. So that was Jammu Kashmir Assembly. Lieutenant Governor understood the need of the restore this territory, and Jammu Kashmir was a reorganization created by the Union Territory in Ladakh without the legislation. Jammu Kashmir Assembly functioned under the Article 239 and A, and that was similar to the Puducherry with certain powers of the Lieutenant Governor aligning to the structure of Puducherry, and that was public order and the police, that which are outside the assembly legislation, reach explaining the similarity of the Puducherry government. Consider the following regarding the Aditya L1 mission. So this Aditya L1 mission aimed to study the moon and understand the lunar geology. Aditya L1 was a moon nahi hai, it is sun. Okay, so it is asking about the which is incorrect. And first mission to study the sun place in the sun earth orbit, like Lagrange point. There is a Lagrange point. Okay, so that point, and visible emission line of coronagraph. There is a coronagraph, and in this coronagraph you can go for the Aditya L1, and that was developed by the Institute of Astrophysics, Bengaluru, Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and that is in Bengaluru. Okay, so that is about this. So see, Aditya L1 was the first space mission, and visible coronagraph developed by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. Mission of the coronal mass ejection, which is powerful explosion of the sun. So that is coronal mass ejection, and that is the sun. Aditya L1 was stationed the sun earth Lagrange point, providing the uninterrupted view of the sun, and that is Aditya L1 space based solar observatory mission. So this was